he talked of about 90 countries that are going to be supported.
Yeah.
It's also important to note here that we have around 80% of the children from low and middle income countries who need to be supported. For example, globally we have, like, if I may come to the early childhood level, we have like 175 million who are not accessing school. And if I may even come back down to our situation in Kenya, we have a net enrollment of around 77%, which means around 23 to 25% of children are not in school. It is even worse in arid and semi-arid areas of Kenya, where, for example, in Mandera we have only 18% of these children who are attending school. So when we are talking about resources coming to education, how much of that is going to pre-primary education? Because without resources, we will not be able to talk about quality early childhood education. And in fact, what we are pushing for, and it is good that our president is co-hosting this summit with the Prime Minister UK. We want to have our president be the first African president who is going to dedicate 10% of all the resources that are allocated to the education sector. Well, it is one thing to get resources to the education sector in Kenya, but it's another to ensure that these resources, how much is going to secondary. You know, in Kenya we tend to put more attention to primary and secondary. Why? Because that is the time when students are doing exams, and that is the time when we celebrate because they have performed well. The same for high school, and we tend to push a lot of resources there. Currently, Kenya is spending around 1.8% of the educational resources in early childhood. When this money is given to the county government, for your information, we are all aware that pre-primary education was devolved to the county government. And therefore, when this devolved function, the funds, resources that support it, including technical, vocational, and all that, how much is going to pre-primary? And when it goes to pre-primary, how much is given to different activities that support quality early childhood? For example, do we have a framework which states that 20% of this, for example, I've seen when I was flipping through some of the counties how much they give to early childhood. I could see 500 million, maybe 200, you know. But out of this 200 million, what percentage is going to infrastructure? Because many counties tend to push resources towards infrastructure. They forget about the feeding program of these children, because we have children from disadvantaged backgrounds. How can county government put measures in place to ensure that every pre-primary has a feeding program? So what percentage goes to feeding program? They are supposed to pay teachers, employ and pay teachers. How much, what percentage is going to payment of teachers? And the whole issue of teachers is another issue that we really need to look into to ensure that we have qualified teachers. I'm aware we have had some service TORs for the teachers, terms of reference or terms of service for the teachers, which have not been implemented. Who are these pre-primary school teachers teaching in our public schools? So we cannot talk about quality, we cannot talk about teaching learning materials if there are no resources. But these resources should be directed to the right activities.